Hello, all you degenerate old schoolers, and welcome back to another episode of the Orb. Today starts a new year off. 2025 kicks off. The Orb's been in business for right at a year now, and pumped out just shy of 100 videos. It's been fun, but if you don't mind, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. I don't know what they do for me, but it looks good when I look back on my time. We're taking a break from LobsterCon just for a couple videos. This is X.46 semifinals, top four. Rob versus Andreas. The Canadian legend versus the European Titan. Can't wait for it. Let's take a look at their decks. And here we go with a look at Rob's deck. We've seen this deck before, something close to it. A few cards have been swapped out. I believe I always refer to it as the thunderous undergod of recreational destruction, or the T.U.R.D. Rob seems to misspell it. There should be a U and a D in there somewhere. He dropped an O and an N. I think he's spelling out Tron. He does have a Tron land package, which is very respectable. And I think those lands step up even further. Not only that, he's running 4 Mishra's Workshops and 4 Mishra's Factories. 4 deserts to take care of the little guys that are going to rush him. I love that he has 2 candlesticks in here. Now he can dump mana in, if he has Tron on, or if he's got a workshop up, dump mana in and reuse that workshop, reuse those Tron lands, and make just an absolute killer amount of colorless mana. He can dump that into the rocket launcher. He's also got icy manipulators. And terrible news, he's got Winter Orb in there to slow his opponent down. He can shut that off with Relic Barrier if he has to. He also has Howling Mines, same deal. He can shut those off with Relic Barrier. Or, if you're playing artifacts against Rob, he can shut your artifacts down. So, Relic Barrier is going to be doing some heavy lifting here. Win condition sits with those Juggernauts, Suchis, and Triskelions, the normal robot package, and then 1 Chaos Orb for funsies onesies. So Rob is rocking only 8 points in his main deck, and all of those points begin with the word Mishra's. His last 2 points, Maze of Ith, sit in the sideboard. He's got a bunch of other things in the sideboard. Clay statues in case he needs to regenerate. Obsidious Golems, 4/6 for, I think there's 6 to cast. 3 Disrupting Scepter, 2 extra rocket launchers, and Diamond Valley in case he needs to gain life. I know Rob and a couple of others have been rocking this thunderous undergod of recreational destruction deck for a while. At some point here very soon, I know it's going to take down the tournament. So glad we have this on video. Can't wait to watch. Now let's look at his opponent's deck, Andreas. And here's a look at Andreas's spicy meatball. It's red, it's black, and it's got a little bit of green with 1 Birds of Paradise and 1 Tranquility in the main board to wipe out enchantments. Other than that, it is red and black. And he does not care that his opponent's packing a ton of very specific lands, because he can take them off those mana sources with 3 Stone Rains and 4 Sinkhole. Has some spot removal in the form of lightning bolts and tears, shatters, and a fireball. And then just a huge creature package. 4 hippies, 2 Kumbach Witches, Demonic Hordes, 2 Sangiers, 2 Darrellors, 4 of those little trolls sitting in the corner that are regenerating, 2 discs, and then the one I didn't mention is Zyra. From Legends, legendary creature, 3 colors to cast, green, red, black. It works like a book. We tap a green, a red, and a black, and tap Zyra, and target player draws 1 card. So no need to waste 4 colorless mana on a book when you have 3 individual mana to play this creature out. And no big deal, because you're going to have to deal with all his other creatures before you have to deal with this one, because they're going to be nicking cards out of your hand or regenerating or dealing 4 damage every time they turn sideways. He spends his points 3 into the Soul Ring, 2 into a Mox Jet, 2 more into Maze of Ith, and the last pointed card is the Demonic Tutor. Myriad Lands, Sideboard, I love the Avoid Fate in the sideboard. A couple Flash Fires, a couple Tsunamis, and those can really wreck House and Exploit with a lower number of Moxen. Couple Paralyze, Red Elemental Blast, Earthquakes, Crumbles, and one last Shatter. So this should be a good fight. Can't wait for the games to get started here. Let's take a look at game number 1. Here we go with game number 1. Andreas won the Tomahawk throwing competition, so he's on the play. He just drops out of Badlands. He's playing on a playmat that looks like a wooden table. He paid extra for that playmat. Rob's up now, immediately finds a workshop. Even though there's only 4 in a deck, sometimes it feels like your opponent's playing with 8. Taps it for 3 colorless, drops a Howling Mine, and says, let's speed this party up. Gives 2 cards to his opponent. He does take 1 point of burn, so Rob is down to 19. Andreas is still on 20. Andreas tapping 2. Look at that sinkhole immediately dealing with. The workshop, get that shit to your graveyard. I don't want to see it again. Rob takes his 2. Looks like he plays out a tower and just a pass. The tower's able to generate 1 colorless mana. Andreas plays out a swamp. Ooh, Shatter. Yep. Let's slow this game back down. Makes sense. Looks like Rob finds a... There's his mine. It's 2 of the 3. And just a pass back to his opponent. Andreas showing up with a Taiga. Has all 3 colors online. Looks like he's going to tap 3. Ooh, Stone Rain. More land destruction. Takes out the tower. Rob's deck needs a lot of mana. It keeps kind of falling way behind. Oh, tapping 5. Andreas powers out a Sengir Vampire. What a creature of the night. That may be a little tough for Rob to deal with. We'll see. Rob does find a desert, and Sengir comes flying in over the top and takes a bite out of Rob. You should probably get that checked out by a doctor. Rob down to 15. Andreas powering out a Darrelor, another 4/4 body. Rob does find a second desert. Tapping 4 and Icy. Okay, that'll slow the game back down a little bit. I can't use it this turn as he's tapped out. Andreas is cracking in for 8. That puts Rob down to 7. Time to panic just a little bit. Here comes a Sedge Troll. More bad news for Rob. Oh, there we go. He does have another workshop. He finds his second one. Should be able to produce all the mana he needs to power out something from his hand. The bad news is he's so far behind. His neck's bleeding from that vampire bite. Ooh, Rob does come up with another Icy Manipulator. Again, that'll help slow the bleeding some. Yeah, Rob's tapping down the 2 4/4 bodies. Makes sense. Sedge Troll's coming in for 3. Quick poke to the eye. Slaps Rob down to 4 life. Oh, Andreas playing on a Chaos Orb. Activation. Oh, it's a nice hit. One of those icy manipulators straight to the bin. And just a pass back to Rob. Rob's got a lot of work still to do to stabilize here. Tapping 5, going to 6. See a big body Triskelion. Yeah, Andreas untapping everything. Sengir's getting tapped down. Don't want him flying over the top to rip off Rob's head. And Rob being on 4, it looks like they're going to have to trade Darylor for the Trike. We shall see. Oh, I take that back. He shoots the Sedge 3 times to make him regenerate, then blocks Darylor. And Andreas drops another threat down. Kumbach Witches. Rob needs like a board wipe at this point. Does show up with Workshop number 3. Oh, tapping for 6. Oh, untapping. Reevaluating. Yeah, Rob goes ahead and taps for 6 colorless, drops out Triskelion number 2, I believe. He's trying to catch back up. Each turn, Andreas' board presence just builds a hair bit more. Yeah, gotta take care of that Sengir first and foremost. Icy's tapping the Sengir down. Sending in his 2 creatures. Factory's blocking, pumping. Sedge Troll's getting regenerated. Factory goes to the bin. Darylor goes to the bin. Hippie hits the board. The factory blocked the Darylor there. The desert did the last point of damage. Triskelion blocked that Sedge Troll. So Andreas does find another creature to chuck on the board. Rob's still behind. But the more 4/4 bodies you throw out there, the quicker you catch up. Rob does also have to worry about that Kumbach Witches, as she is just a mere 4 turns away, or 4 taps away from dealing that last 4 damage. Rob's pointing to all his lands, making sure everyone knows that they look very pretty. Taps to play out a Juggernaut plus a Howling Mine. Doesn't want to take mana burn, that makes sense. Juggernaut's going to be playing defense. Yeah, Kumbach Witches, look at this. Crack it in for 1. Rob drops down into lightning bolt range. Oh, deals one back to Hippie, and Triskelion pings it for one. I don't get to play with the trike animation often enough, so I will throw that one down. Trike shooting down that Hypnotic Spectre. Andreas finds a pointed card. It's a maze of Ith. Rob taps down the Sengir and sends in the Sedge Troll. Yeah, that Sedge is going to kill something. Sedge is the gift that keeps on giving. He may be high on drugs in the corner, but he cannot be stopped by the law. Or 12 armed guards. Or even a Juggernaut. Andreas had to put some quarters in the machine to turn his camera back on. Right where they left off. Juggernaut is in the bin. Sedge Troll's been regenerated. Does Andreas have another threat? Nope, Rob's untapping. Getting his 2 cards. And I'm impressed. Rob stayed alive a lot longer than I thought he would when he first dropped down to 4 or 5 life. But he's still going to have to deal with that Kumbach Witches. And here comes a Suchi. And a Relic Barrier. Wow. So Rob's up to just a draw engine for him. He can shut off the Howling Mine. And Rob's tapping 2. Look at this. Winter Orb. That's pretty good. Andreas only has 1 land tap, so not a big deal right now. Draws his 2 cards. Andreas tapping 2 Sinkhole. Destroys Workshop number 2. Sengir gets tapped down. Sedge Troll's coming in though. He's friendly, I think. Yeah, Rob's in kind of a predicament here. If he blocks with the Suchi, Kumbach Witches is going to dump 1 on Suchi's face. Rob's going to magically have 4 colorless mana that are going to come and really just get shoved up his ass, and it's going to make him die. That's going to be very unfortunate. I'm sure he does not want that to happen. On the other hand, he can throw the body in front of the Sedge Troll with his Trike, but his Trike's going to end up dying. So this is the proverbial rock and hard place. Yeah, so Rob doesn't really have another choice. Sends the Trike out to go play in the street, and the Sedge Troll, still high on drugs, runs the Trike over in the street. And look at this, another Sedge Troll's out there. So Andreas does have a ton of lands tapped. Rob did the old trickaroo where he taps down Winter Orb, it deactivates itself, he untaps all his shit, and life moves on. Which he needs. He needs access to that mana. Andreas has been attacking his mana base. And Rob's deck's hungry, to say the least. Very hungry for mana. And that's it. Rob doesn't have it. He needs another answer. Andreas just keeps piling out creatures that just... I mean, they're like the foot off the Ninja Turtles. They just keep coming out from the sewers. Manhole covers fly off and more creatures just keep coming. So they overwhelmed Rob's thunderous undergod of recreational destruction. Andreas is up 1-0. Let's take a look at game number 2. And here we go with game number 2. Andreas won with an endless spawning amount of creatures that just keep coming after Rob. Rob's on the play, turns a workshop sideways, slams down a candlestick. Has 2 mana left over from that shop. Let's see what he dumps it into. Howling Mind. Gifting his opponent's extra cards. He's been doing it all month long, and now he's down to the semifinals, so it's worked out pretty well for him. I thought for a second Andreas was on the discard a creature, animate dead at next turn, but no, he's on the get that shit out of here plan. Plays a strip mine straight to his bin and tells Rob to ditch his workshop. And discard the Sedge Troll. Sedge Troll's really good against those 4/4 beaters. And look at this, Rob immediately says, no big deal, I play with a ton of workshops, here's another one. Drops it down, Relic Barrier, takes a point of burn, and shuts his Howling Mine off. How kind of him. So Andreas is back to drawing just 1 a turn. Rob will be drawing 2 a turn for the foreseeable future. Not a bad deal. Oh, Andreas has a crumble though. What does he take out? Yeah, Howling Mine, the card advantage. Makes sense. Puts Rob up to 21. Yeah, Candlestick doing work. Rob's tapping for 6, and here comes Triskelion. I don't know what turn we're on, but it feels way too early. I mean, when you're slamming down trikes, the biggest smile you can have is when your opponent has to crumble 1. You get 6 life, you still get to get off 3 damage. What a trade-off. Let's see if Andreas has another answer. I mean, Rob is running out of cards fairly quickly. He's down to 3. Andreas still has a whole grip of them. Andreas tapping 2, and he does have another answer. Shatters the Triskelion, makes sense. He drops to 17, but he gets that 4/4 threat out of the way and still has a pretty full grip of cards. Looks like he put the dice down at 3, but I feel like there's more than that. Rob tapping shit again, doing more shenanigans. And look at this. Plays out a Winter Orb followed by a Juggernaut. Wow. That's kind of a pain in the ass. Andreas finds a new Badlands, taps 2 more. Oh, look at this. Sinkhole, Workshop, in the bin. Rob taps down his own Winter Orb with that Relic Barrier. Again, that Relic Barrier has done some heavy lifting for Rob. The Jugs comes in over the top, slams Andreas in the brain, and he drops down to 12 life. Only gets 1 land untapped. Ah, this is tough. Rob's deck is just humming right along. Jugs in again over the top. Another punch to the brain for Andreas. Dropping down to 7 life. He needs to come up with something quick. Rob's also snuck out a Mishra's Factory. So it's time to do something about one of those 2 creatures. Otherwise, this party's over with. 2 more for a Demonic Tutor. Yeah. Not a whole lot Mono Brown deck can do about a Demonic Tutor. A little movie magic, and Andreas has found his favorite fucking card in the deck, and at this point, it's a Crumble, which makes sense. He needs to deal with that Juggernaut. Rob's going to go up to 25, though. Only has 2 cards in hand. Another candlestick comes out. Factory cracks in for 2. Andreas drops to 5, gets 1 land untapped. Retaps it to play a Birds of Paradise. Okay, makes sense. He needs a mana advantage here. He also may need a blocker in a minute. Rob's pointing to all 3 of his Tron lands. I think he's saying these work really well together. Yeah. He's doing dice math as we speak. He's activated the factory, untapping lands. Looks like he's got a factory floating out there and a couple floating mana left. Oh, he's doing it again. Telling his opponent a 6-sided die won't work. I've quit counting. He's up to 8 or 9 colorless mana. Oh, he's pumping up his factory. How kind of him. Everything gets untapped again. Factory's sitting at a 3, or maybe a 4/4. Drops an Icy Manipulator. Uses last floating. Tap down to... Oh, nope. Deciding. Yeah, what a cool trick with the candlestick. And here goes. Factory coming in. Andreas dropping to 1. I mean, he should probably be sweating bullets. Rob's tapping down. Andreas is only on tap mana. And that is it. Wow. The thunderous undergod of recreational destruction comes back to win game number 2. There will be a game number 3. Swap out some more cards and let's take a look. And here we go with game number 3. Rob takes a mulligan, going to start with 6 in hand. Andreas on the play. Fires out a Bayou and just a pass. Rob shows up to the party with a desert. Land go for Andreas. Rob finds a relic barrier. That thing did some work for him. Andreas coming up with a land and a Moxen and dropping out Darylor real quick like. Big 4/4 body. Rob says no problem. I'll lay out a Howling Mine that I'm just going to get to play with. And taps it down immediately with Relic Barrier. Andreas taking a crumble to the Howling Mine. He does take 4 to the dome from the Darylor. And there's a Stone Rain. I believe he drops a tower. Urza's Tower. Rob shows up with a workshop anyways. He'll go about getting Tron a different way. And just play with those expensive workshops. Makes sense. And here comes Juggernaut. Yep, Rob using this relic barrier for everything he can get his hands on. Taps down Andreas's Mox Jet. I'm starting to think I need to play with more relic barriers. Andreas fires out a Maze of Ith. And a Sedgetroll. Yeah, not a bad deal. So he's already come up with a blocker for the Juggernaut. I think at this point, this turn, you just, untap the Juggernaut with the Maze. And then when he's forced to attack again next turn, just let the Sedge take a beating but come out victorious. Here come the Jugs. Oh, Andreas just takes it. Drops to 15. And Rob fires out another creature, Suchi. Yeah, Relic Berry doing more work, but now that black mana is getting shoved into the Sedgetroll. Got an extra regeneration shield on him for the turn. Darylor about came in. Andreas untapped him really quick like. Says first no, let's crumble. Let's crumble out that Suchi. So gain 4. I'm sure he's going to lose 4 from the mana burn. Yeah. Net 0 loss of life. And here comes Darylor crack-a-lacking down the street. Bebopping and scatting all over the place. Rob drops down to 14. And look at this. Andreas plays a Sinkhole and takes out another Workshop. Andreas has been dismantling workshops all day long. So there's no black mana available for the Sedgetroll, but that Maze of Ith is still untapped. Very close game here. Here comes a Howling Mine. And Jugs is coming in. 5-3. Andreas just takes it again. Drops down to 10. Howling Mine gets shut off. I'm surprised he's not using that Maze of Ith. Maybe he's holding it back because he knows Rob has Winter Orbs. Yeah, Andreas turning the team sideways here. Rob's dropping to 7. And here comes Sedgetroll number 2 with a pass back to Rob. Rob drawing 2 cards, Howling Mine doing great things for him. Like Rob says, I know I have a Juggernaut here, but I don't want to send him in. Makes sense. Rob does find a second desert. I mean, he's going to need, at a bare minimum, just one more blocker out on the board to stay alive. Looks through his cards a couple times. Caressing his workshop, saying, do you remember when you were on this side of the table? He was having more fun then. Here comes Juggernaut. Blocked by Sedgetroll. Winter Orb comes in. And that is it, folks. Andreas nabs game number 3. As always, thanks for watching The Orb.